All right, so this is CRM In A Can, and as I mentioned, it is a power app. Those of you that are familiar with Dynamics 365, it's going to look pretty similar, but again, more streamlined and easier to use. Over to the left here is your navigation pane. Obviously, home brings you back to the home screen here. Recent, if I click the down tick here, you can see any of the recent areas that I've been in as I've navigated through the system. Also, I have an area pinned. So if there's a certain account that I work with a lot or a certain view that I work with a lot, I can pin those things here so I can have quick and easy access to them. Under my work, we have your dashboards. And we have a few dashboards that come out of the box, and we also work with you to develop dashboards that make the most sense for you. But for example, here I'm looking at all opportunities by owner per month, and you can see right now I'm the only user in the system. So here are my opportunities. But if I click right here, I'm able to actually not only see the chart, but I can see those opportunities here, and I can click right into them if I want to. So the dashboards are a quick way for you to really get to information that's the most important to you. Also under my work is my activities. You take a look here. This is a great place to go to find out what do you need to do and what's upcoming. You can see here that this is a list of all of my activities. There are other views here that come out of the box as well, but this is a view of my activities. And under this selection here, I'm showing everything, but I could ask the system to show me anything that's overdue. And luckily, I'm a great sales rep because I don't have anything.
Congratulations.
I know that never happens, Dave, for the typical sales rep. Excuse me. But I can look at anything that I have due today or earlier within the next 7 days, for example. Or I can even go out, the next 30 days, or I can see all. But right here, very, very quickly, I can see the things that I need to do along with the due date for those things. And this is happens to be sorted in due date. So I can very quickly jump in here and I can jump into the actual task. I can put some notes in. I can complete the task. Jump back over. This is an email that I have in a draft mode right now. And you can see right here, up to the right in this section here, that it's in a draft status. This email is coming from me. It's going to a client. Here's the body of the email. So when I'm ready to send this email, I can just very easily click send, and the system will automatically send the email via Outlook to the customer. So this is a great place to come to find out all the things that you need to do. Starting just to look at the system itself and working with the system, let's come to accounts for a second. And I'm a super user, so right now I can see everything. So I have a view of all accounts here, but maybe I just want to see my accounts. I can click on that view right here, and it'll populate. And now I'm only looking at the accounts that I'm associated with. I've got the ability, if you look up here, again, talking about that easy and integration with the Microsoft stack, including Excel. I can export this to Excel. Boom, it's there. And then downloads, and I can bring it up on the screen here. So you can see, here's Excel. Here's that same view, but in Excel. And I can do whatever I want here in this in the Excel spreadsheet. I can add columns, I can move things around, I can distribute this to folks that maybe aren't CRM users, but it's that easy and quick. Another feature, which most people will actually put some controls around, is I can actually open this up in Excel Online. And if I do so, I'm able to actually make changes here. Like you can see, I don't have an email address here for Boudreaux Enterprises or for Alice Boudreaux, so I could enter that email address here. Same things for Andrew Wilson. I could put his email address and update all of those, all of that information. And if I click save, which I'm not going to do because it will take some time, it will actually re-import this and update all of the information right into CRM In A Can. So very powerful, but can be scary. And you wouldn't want every user to have this ability, but maybe some top managers or some top admin, you might want to have access to do these types of things. So nice, tightly integrated. Some other things here. This is what we call a view, by the way. And when we look at this view, maybe there's some columns that are missing, or I want to move things around. You have this option here to edit columns. So if I click on that, it's going to show the columns that are already in the view itself. If I simply click here, add columns, I can then go through this list of all the columns that are available to me for that account. I can also look at related fields associated with the account. But let's take over here with the account record. And I see I have city here, but maybe I want to add state. So I'm going to click there, pick that option, hit close, and you'll see that this is now added to my list of columns. But you know what? I don't want the state at the end of my view. I want that right next to the city. So I'm going to hit apply. And now that view, you can see, now includes the state as well. You can do all sorts of filters here, and you can filter by columns as well. So let's do, I'm going to filter this, and I'm going to say, I just want the state of Massachusetts, for example. I'm partial to Massachusetts because that's where I'm located. So now I have a view of all my accounts that are located in Massachusetts. Now I have the option here. If I look over here, I can actually save this as a new view. And I can rename this. I can say this is my Massachusetts accounts. I can give it a description if I want, and I can save. And now I have this new view that's Massachusetts accounts. If I only work with those accounts, I can even come in here and I can say, I want to set this as my default view. So every time I come back in, whereas before when I came to accounts, it was all accounts, I can click on accounts, and now I'm just seeing my preferred view, my default view of Massachusetts accounts. Let's click into one of these accounts real quick, just so that you can see high level. This is the information that is standard out of the box with CRM in a can. So you can see things like account name and the rating, industry. We can rename any of these fields. We can add additional fields. We can take fields away if you're not interested in them. That's part of the onboarding process with you. And we also will teach you how to do these things yourself so that you don't have to call up Azamba every time you want to add a field or move a field around or rename something. But right here from this summary screen, I can see all my account information, address information, any keynotes that I might have. This is where the easy buttons would show, and I'll show you a record in a few moments that has an easy button on it. But you also see your opportunities, and then you can see any activity that's happened with this account as well. I'm going to go back here for 1 second. I'm just going to grab Gemstone Group because I know I have some demo data in here for this. So if we look at Gemstone Group, we've rated Gemstone Group, which I am the president and owner of, by the way, with a 5-star rating. So you can rate your accounts as well. And you'll see here's a timeline of all the different things that have happened with this account. Everything will flow up to the account level. So anything that happens with contacts, opportunities, anything associated with that account, you're going to see all that interaction here, whether it be emails or appointments or what have you. Everything will be here for the account. If I actually go to the primary contact, I'm going to click here real quick. This is going to bring me to my record here. I'm going to see in the timeline here all of the interactions that have happened with Sandra. And these are just the interactions with her. So this then will filter up to the account level. If I click on the timeline here, you can create an activity as well right from the screen, as well as the activity screen we were on before. So everything is really within 1 or 2 clicks away for you. And over here, I can see an opportunity that I have open as well for this account. So everything is laid out where you can see everything very quickly, and you can move from accounts to contacts very easily. You'll see there is a area here called Influence Marketing, which that is something that Dave is going to go into more detail when we go into the integration. He's logging into that now to get that. And let's see, let's go to opportunities. Just going to click on an opportunity. Again, here's a view of my active opportunities. Very simple. You give an opportunity a topic. You can associate it with an account and or a contact. You can give that opportunity a rating: warm, cold, hot. You can determine anything that you see on the screen here that is a drop down like this. You can determine what those drop down values are. So again, part of your onboarding process. And you can give a description of the opportunity and what the customer need is. You can create different stages. This happens to be in a stage of proposal submitted. Maybe you have a lead. The lead goes to proposed. This goes right to invoice or invoiced and invoice paid. But again, you can determine what you want the stage to be. The estimated close date as well, and the estimated revenue. Again, you've got that timeline. So here we're just seeing any of the interactions with Sandy, a little confusing, with regards to this opportunity. So everything's right there on the one screen for you. You're actually able to, hopefully close the opportunity in the end as a win or a loss and give a description of that as well. So really very simple. Again, we can add additional fields if there's more information that you need to capture, but out of the box, this is a very simple and easy way to track opportunities that you have in your system. Real quick, we'll jump over to customer service where I can show you cases. And again, right here, you give your case a title. The system will assign a case number to it. You can set your priorities. Customizable again, we have high, normal, and low out of the box. You can associate a case with a customer, with a contact, and also where did this case come from? Did they send you an email saying that they were having an issue? Or was it via the phone? They just gave you a call, or even if you have a web form. And this can all be integrated as well if you do have web forms so that the information can get pulled in. So if you have a support portal and they fill in a form via your website, that it will automatically come in here and create the case for you. You can give a description here. And again, any of the interactions would show up on the timeline. One of the nice things that you can do as well is right now I'm looking at, if I come back to the view, these are all the active cases that I am the owner of. You're actually able to come in here as you're working with these, and maybe I'm not the main person that should be working on this type of issue. I can actually assign this to another user in the system as well. Instead of being assigned to me, I can assign it to somebody in the team. I can look up that person, just grab a name. I think Peter's in here. I can assign it to my boss. He loves that. And then I just click assign, and it will go through and assign to him. And now he's the owner of that case. Down below here is where we get into the marketing, and Dave's going to work on that. And just really quick, again, I wanted to mention that we do have Launchpad here. And Launchpad is one place that you can go to get to our support portal. All of your training materials are here, both for your admin and sales. If you're an admin person, you're going to be able to see both. If you're in the system as a sales rep, you're only going to be able to see the sales training. The add-on library is here so that you can see some of the add-ons, learn about them, install them actually if you're an admin, or watch a video. So really, we're trying to make it so you never really need to leave CRM In A Can to access support with us, or any of the add-ons and things that we have to offer. So I know that's kind of drinking from a fire hose, as they say. There's a lot to CRM In A Can, but I could go on for an hour at least, delving in a little bit deeper into CRM In A Can. But I just kind of wanted to give you an overview of the main areas that we concentrate on, the simplicity of the use of navigating throughout the system, and easy it is to get to the information you need to. I did want to show you easy buttons really quick, just so that you can see that this is happening live. If we take a look at all of my activities, you can see I've got an email, I do have a task here, a phone call, and an appointment. I'm going to go back to that record that I was on, and you can see that I can schedule with a click of one button a 1-month follow-up with Sandra. So if I click this button, I've done my call with them. I just got off the phone. I want to make sure I follow up with them in 1 month. I just click this button. You can see that the record was created successfully, and I can click here to view it. Or if I come over to my activities now, you can see that that task has been added to my list so that I can follow up on it at that point, and it's been scheduled for 1 month out. Real quick, before I turn things over to Dave, I did want to talk about the Outlook integration. I know everybody is usually pretty interested in that. I do have an email here from Sandra Knight from Gemstone Group. How convenient. You can see right from within Outlook over here, I'm running Dynamics 365. So I can come in here and I could open up the account view here if I wanted to see more details about Gemstone Group. You can see all of the account details here, the relationship, what have you. I can actually take this email right now up at the top here. It's saying that it's not tracked. I can actually track this email with a click of a button here. I'm going to set it regarding to Gemstone Group. It's going to process through. It says that it's successfully tracked. And if you look over here, I now have like this little icon here, and that tells me that the email is now being tracked. So if I was to go back into my Dynamics 365 instance, I would see that. So very easy integration. Literally, you could do everything that you need to right from within Outlook if you want. You can even, if I click here, I can create new records here. I could create a new account, a case, a contact. So I could do a lot of my daily activities right from Outlook without even having to log into CRM In A Can. So I'll drop that down. And I think I hit everything. I think I'm on time. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second here and turn things over to Dave so he can give us a little bit of an overview on influence marketing and then show the integration with CRM In A Can.
Very, very seriously. So I'm going to jump straight into our demo at this point and kind of show you what it looks like to experience influence within CRM In A Can. And so you hit that influence marketing tab, and it's going to embed our user experience into the entire application. And so in this case, we've done a little bit of customization with CRM In A Can. And so as Sandy mentioned, it's built on the Power Platform, and so it's sort of endlessly customizable. And that's one of the nice things about CRM In A Can is it does not require a full CRM license. So it's going to be a less expensive entry point and still very powerful and sort of infinitely scalable. It kind of depends, it's going to boil down to what do you want to do operationally, how do you want to start, and what your user adoption is going to look like. But for starters, a few customizations. We created a journey stage field here. And a customer journey, in case you were not aware, is the idea that as we develop a relationship with a customer or a prospect, they're going to go through a journey of working with us. And the first piece of it is typically, and there could be lots of variations of a customer journey, but awareness. How do we get them to know that we even exist? And then you go from awareness to consideration, which means, okay, I know that you exist, CRM In A Can, and I'm thinking about it. So I'm starting to do some research about it. So probably at this point, we're having some sort of conversation. And then convert would be when the opportunity in CRM In A Can goes from opportunity open to closed won. And now we're converted, and we want to kick off an automated workflow for client onboarding. Then we have loyalty, which might be triggered by a flag in that says, well, they signed up for a 1-year contract and now they have renewed, meaning that they've shown that they're a loyal customer. They're going to come back for more. There's lots of ways that you might, as a company, determine what loyal means. It might be a second purchase if you're doing direct sales online or something like that, or as I mentioned, like a contract renewal or something. And then ultimately, you're going to have your advocates, and these are the people that you're going to identify that man, we have worked with this customer for 10 years. They love us, we love them. And anytime we have a prospect, we can say, hey, why don't you go talk to our friends over at company XYZ? They're an advocate for us, and they'll talk to you about what it's like to work with us. So we added this journey stage to our CRM in a can, and we also added a couple of fields for contact scoring. And so what this is going to do is it's going to inform the sales team as to, who should I be connecting with? And so we have two versions, and I'm going to go back into our list view to look at that. But we have this regular contact score and we have a high intent contact score. And so what high intent does is it looks at a shorter period of time and it looks at more behavioral metrics around buyer behavior. So for us as a software company, someone visiting our pricing page is more of a buying signal than someone just doing some research on features or functionalities. So our pricing page is weighted heavier. You might get 10 points for visiting that page. If you visit the get a demo page, you're going to get another 10 points. If you fill out the form saying I want a demo, we're going to give you 15 points. And so as a salesperson, all this data is feeding back into CRM in a can, and I can sort by this, and it can help inform my decision on how to communicate with someone. So if we look at Sandy's record here, we can say, well, okay, let's go into the Influence tab and see what kind of engagement we have with Sandy. Is she part of any specific groups? And she's taken a customer survey group that she's in, and she's in a webinar registration group. What emails has she been sent? Has she viewed or clicked any bounces, complaints? No SMS has been sent from this account, but if you sent text messages, you'd see both the sent messages and any responses here. Landing pages built in our system. Has Sandy visited any of these landing pages, and has she filled out the form and counted as a conversion there? Surveys, has she started any surveys and completed any surveys? Here's the website tracking, again, not enabled on this account, but it would show every page that Sandy has visited and how much time she spent on that page, and then a complete timeline. So all this is very, very good for informing a salesperson, right, or an account manager as to the activity, what the interest level is of the individual contact in the system. And so that's looking at it from the sales level. And then when you look at it from the marketing level, you're looking at it in groups, in buckets, or as in, who are the most engaged people, or who are in the awareness phase, and how am I going to communicate with them? So if we go back over to our Influence account and we look at this journey stage, we can see we've got 11 people that are in awareness, and our goal as marketers is to get them to consideration, get them to convert, and this is where the sales team is probably involved, starting in consideration and convert, and then the account management team is in on loyalty and advocacy, and possibly the sales team, but there's a role for marketing to play across the entire journey to support that. And so this is automatically synced. So as journey stages change in CRM, they change in Influence. As they change in Influence, they can change in CRM as well. You can have automated triggers, or you can have manual actions that move people through a journey. You have multiple journeys. So for example, there's an overall journey here, but there could be a journey for B2B customers, or customers that buy a certain product type, and campaigns based around that. One of the great new features that we've rolled out around this is the ability to take this audience and to map it over to Meta. So that's going to be, I can now take everybody who's in awareness, I have an email address for, and I can pass that data to Meta and create a custom audience. So it's going to be Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Audience Network, and Messenger. Now those groups are automatically in sync all the time. So I send email campaigns to this group and the awareness, and it's targeting around awareness. My messaging is around people who have just become aware of us, and how am I going to convince them to actually consider working with us, to get them to that next phase where I have a different set of ads running, to get them to the next phase, which is convert, where I have an onboarding workflow set up, and so on through the process. So keeping that data in sync allows you to really leverage your first party data, which is, in our opinion, becoming, there's two critical things. Two of the most critical things to a company right now are your brand and your first party data. And so having a hub to manage that data becomes really, really important. CRM's ultimately your source of truth. You get the data synced with your marketing application, and now you can do really, really powerful stuff. So as we look at the kinds of ways you would work within our application, one is a calendar view. So if I'm a marketer, I've got a CRM in a can demo coming up on this date, and I need to promote that. Well, it's a drag and drop calendar where I can say, well, the event's coming up on this day, so I need to send an email out. And I'm just literally going to send an email out and create a new email where I'll select a template. and then I'll title it the message. So join the webinar. Set a time and a date for this to go out, and create a campaign around it. So in this case, we would probably say with this CRM, there's already a campaign that's going to be for reporting later. And then I can actually compose this message here. So, oops, that's, of course, we can't do that. Where am I? Let's see, let's go to a different date here, sorry. All right, so I can actually, so we're this modal popped up in front of the calendar. I'm still working on the calendar essentially, but I'm going to walk through this process of selecting the template, which we already did. Going to compose my message, preview and test, define the recipients. So this is my list, my groups, and that can be mapped to marketing lists as well. Some options for delivery. There's an approval process, and then you can actually deploy a campaign. So all of this super simple drag and drop editor. We do have integration with ChatGPT. It is amazing. You can select a tone and a style, essentially. So I want to say I want this message to be friendly and persuasive. And then I type in a prompt and say, hey, help me write a 200-word email encouraging people to see a demo on the integration between CRM In A Can and Influence. And ChatGPT is going to go do its thing, and it's going to be about 80% of your work is complete. You're still going to need to, you're going to copy that, paste it in your email, and they're going to need to adapt your brand voice to it. And you're going to need to fact check it. But it's going to do a tremendous amount of work for you in a very short period of time. Still needs humanize, but a really, really cool feature. And we have that built in everywhere where you create content in our system. So that's for landing pages, that's for email campaigns, that's for social posts, all of those things. And so I would finish creating this. I would go through all the processes there. We have fantastic tools for previewing and testing, including an integration with Email on Acid that does pre-flights. So that's going to take your email and it's going to do renderings of it across all the common consumer email inboxes and Outlook. And let's go back here. We need to put in a from address. So let's send this from Sandy. Oops. It'll do rendering for us as well as spam filter checking. And it'll also check for domain authentication. So that's going to be, and I'll go back here, fill in our required fields here. One more time. Okay, so it brings back these renderings very, very quickly. You can go through and look at the thumbnails of all these and expand it to full screen versions of them, and just make sure your HTML is going to render properly. Again, we're also checking spam filters. We're checking DKIM and SPF, and if you're not aware yet, DMARC is going to be enforced as well by Yahoo and Gmail. So that's something that we help every single client set up. And so that goes back to our very hands-on approach with our customers, and our level of support is that we will make sure that you're properly authenticated. And a lot of times when you're working with some of these giant players, it is sort of an afterthought. When you discover that you have problems with deliverability, try and find someone to help you figure out how to fix that. You're going to be launched on day one in a really strong state for deliverability when you work with a team like Emfluence. So I go through the rest of the steps and save that. I could clone this email across all different days. For social channels, social content, if I want to post on Facebook, I can create a new message here, select my account, compose my message, clone that over to LinkedIn, clone that over to X, clone that over to Instagram, and really do a good job of promoting this entire event, again, with a whole reporting element built in there as well. And then when it comes to the registration, we can actually use our workflow and create a new workflow that says we are going to do registration and follow-up. So in that, we would start by creating a landing page where people could register for our event, and then we know that we're going to send an immediate follow-up email when they sign up. And then we might say, well, I want to wait a couple of days and remind them about the event, and I'm just stringing together a workflow here. And part of this workflow could be if I asked for permission to send a text message, I could have SMS campaigns built in here as well. And it's really easy to create the forms and to create surveys and things like that as well in landing pages, and it creates a really rich experience. But what's what's really incredible about this is we're doing our best to make tactical execution very, very simple, so that the hard part of your job as a marketer is strategy, and it always will be. But there are tried and true strategies and tactics that you can start with and use. But you as a marketer are unique to every other organization out there. You need to be able to have a tool that helps you very quickly deploy campaigns. And that's one of the things that the influence marketing platform is very, very good at. And when you tie it to a CRM like CRM in a Can, you have an incredible duo to both deploy campaigns as a marketer, but also to leverage the data. And it really goes a very long way in getting sales and marketing alignment.